Jake, let's talk about this 2021 Gamecocks squad on the field. We'll go back to the offense. Quarterback Luke Doty. Of course, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. And South Carolina's trying to find that now with Luke Doty. Came into the end of the season, the last 3 games. I thought he played fine. I mean, it's really hard to judge anybody off anything from the end of that last season last year. But I thought he did well. Again, we obviously know the athleticism, his athletic abilities. And like you said, maybe not the best passer. Of course, Jake, you know, SEC fans, they don't draw unreasonable conclusions from spring games, right? Certainly they don't do that.
They're the smartest. They're the most informed fans around.
Right. Well, of course, the Gamecock spring game goes down. Jason Brown, who's one of those transfers you mentioned, the quarterback prospect from St. Francis, who also came in with E.J. Jenkins, looked really, really good spinning the football. And, of course, that gets the quarterback conversation going, followed by Shane Beamer immediately after the game naming Luke Doty QB1, which was no surprise to me. And I think he will be QB1 when the Gamecocks spot the ball September the 4th against Eastern Illinois. Talk about Luke Doty's game a little bit, though. It's very limited film. I know he's had limited action. What have you seen from him, though? And I agree with you that when people talk about the quarterback conversation, again, it's always the most highly debated position because the backup quarterback is always the most popular guy on campus.
100%.
We all know that. But when you talk about personnel and what this team features this year, the running game, the 4 offensive line returning, and we all know, call it for what it is, the wide receiver room is a major weakness. Yes, I feel good that maybe a guy like Amarian Brown, the Georgia Tech wide receiver, could be a big-time playmaker for you and a threat that could, if nothing else, stretch the field. There's some guys, and then, you know, I said this a couple weeks ago, you got a bunch of guys in there. Who's going to be a dude? Who's going to step up and be a dude for you? But this is a team I fully believe, Jake, that's going to be at minimum 65-35, probably 70-30 running the football. I would be willing to bet and make this bet right now with you, Jake, and I'm going to go into the season with this bet. In games that South Carolina throws the ball 30 times or more, they'll lose every one of them. I guarantee you that right now. But talk about Luke Doty's game and how you think it fits into this Carolina offense going into Shane Beamer's first year.
Yeah, well, obviously you got to start with the size. I mean, he's an intimidating guy, you know, that's built really well. You turn on the film and you notice the size. And that does have an effect. Now, that doesn't mean, you know, you're going to be a great player because you're big or bigger than normal. But especially when you're able to run, because I always look at it from a defensive side. How would I try and combat what he does? Well, when you face a guy like that and you say, listen, this guy is not an elite thrower, but he's got the arm strength to make the throws to the field. He can stretch the defense. He doesn't have a terrible deep ball. He's got some touch, which is the difference, in my opinion, between a guy like him and a guy, you know, and I love Kellen Mond. I'm not saying he's going to be better than Kellen Mond, but Kellen Mond struggled to throw the changeup. I think Doty can throw the changeup a little bit better than that. But the RPO game, that's going to be big, in my opinion, because it slows everything down on defense. You're able to hit different windows. And now the RPO game is so sophisticated. You can have your inside RPO game, your outside RPO game, almost a triple option type RPO game with your zone read and your Q power, but you always have to account for them. So you always feel like you're one down on defense and you're just worried about, you know, we can have everybody covered on 3rd and 7 and we're in man and have our backs turned. And here comes this huge guy rumbling for 10 yards. Now they got a first down, keeps the drive going. That's a killer on defense. So I think if I'm looking at it from my perspective, what Luke Doty can bring, I think he can bring that smash mouth style. I think he can make you unbalanced on defense. He can catch you out of position. They're going to make him throw to beat him, in my opinion. If I'm facing Luke Doty, I'm loading the box, especially if you get an 11 or 12 personnel. I'm walking the safeties down, and you're going to have to prove to me that you can fit balls in windows, not only with pressure, but from the pocket. Can Luke Doty beat you passing from the pocket? I think the jury's still out on that. If he does, he's going to be a big problem. But I think Shane Beamer and them realize that. And let me say this. I'm not saying he is a horrible passer or it's going to be some Kentucky style stuff.
He's not an elite level passer.
He's not an elite level. He's not JT Daniels. Right. He's not, he's not going to make
not breaking news. That's
not
breaking
news. But he doesn't have to be.
Right.
And Shane Beamer is smart to see it. So I think he can be effective. But I agree with you. If they sit there and rely on the passing game, that's a big risk, and you better be right, especially early, because if I'm South Carolina, I'm trying to stay in this game in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Give me a chance in the fourth quarter, and let's see if we can win it, see if we can't grind these guys down a little bit. And, I mean, again, when you have a guy like Luke Doty, 3rd and 1 becomes a whole lot easier because the quarterback can run. So I think there's a lot of pros. There's some cons, and he's going to have to complete 55 to 60% of his passes, in my opinion. And I know that's not a very high, super duper high number, but if he can do that mixed with a good run game, I think they can be somewhat balanced on offense. And at the end of the day, that's what it takes.